but you don't seemingly like your own character, so she comes off as an insufferable, whiny brat.
Rachel is literally the star of a Disney movie, and she acts like she's some sort of victim, and that's the sort of mentality that is just poisoning people's minds. Like, she acts like her life is so bad.
I truly do believe that. There's something wrong with her. She's disturbed, she's unhappy, and she thinks it's about feminism and the patriarchy and about abortion, but the reality is she's just not stable.
And you know the saying, go woke, get broke, and Disney's going to lose money on this movie. And I believe it only made less than $1 million in China.
Rachel Zegler is extraordinarily woke, but she's woke in a way that's quite deranged.
And if you disagree with this sentiment, I don't need your business. Thanks.
No one on the right side of America can stand the star of this movie. She gets less likable. There's some clip of her on the internet in her Snow White outfit saying, every hour I am in the outfit of Snow White wearing the dress. All 18 hours, I deserve to be paid for every single one. Oh, really? Are you having trouble paying your bills, Rachel? Did Steven Spielberg not pay you for your role in West Side Story? Did Disney fail to give you a healthy paycheck for, cry me a river? She's just exactly everything that we can't stand.
I'm going to stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess. I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed online.
Oh, my God.
Nobody
Who
wants
wants a movie about true love? What kind of woman do we want out there seeking true love, Eliana? It's the outrage.
What would you say to those who are just kind of overly critiquing the film at this point? You've worked so hard on it.
Hold on. Here. Hold on.
All right. Congrats, Rachel.
And Alex, what has been the reaction to Disney's latest expensive own goal?
Well, the reaction has been absolutely horrible. It is the worst box office from a Disney live action remake that they've ever done.
Rachel Zegler appeared to be on the verge of a genuine Hollywood fairy tale. She went from a promising newcomer in West Side Story to being cast as the lead in a hotly anticipated Disney live-action remake. Her bright smile and breakout talent made headlines, stirring excitement among fans who believed they were witnessing the rise of a new, era-defining star. Yet, in the blink of an eye, that excitement took a sharp downward turn. Controversial remarks, polarizing interviews, and social media stumbles slammed into her once glowing reputation, plunging her into an unprecedented backlash that took aim at both her character and the film she championed. The result was a maelstrom of controversy, one that many argue might jeopardize not just Rachel's career, but Disney's confidence in its entire reboot strategy. How did a young actress, touted as the next big thing, end up in the center of a raging cultural firestorm? And why did her portrayal of an iconic Disney princess ignite so much bitterness among fans who'd grown up cherishing the 1937 classic? Some say she brought these troubles upon herself with dismissive comments about the original film's themes. Others insist she's a casualty of shifting audience demands and ruthless internet pundits. One reality is beyond dispute. Rachel Zegler's name has become one of the most polarizing in Hollywood, entangled in a swirl of debates over political correctness, respect for legacy, and the place of personal opinion in family entertainment. But this saga doesn't stop at mere controversy over a few interview soundbites. Behind the scenes, there are whispers of frantic Disney executives, ballooning budgets that never translated to ticket sales, and a mounting suspicion that Zegler's own words may have sunk what was supposed to be a billion-dollar blockbuster. Rumors even suggest that Rachel has left the country in haste, either to lie low or to dodge something bigger, a potential legal repercussion from her employer. Whether that's true or not is anyone's guess. One thing is clear, this story has progressed well past an underwhelming box office weekend. It's become a cautionary tale about the volatile mix of star power, social media, and an audience always ready to sound off. A star on the rise. Before all the controversy and the swirling headlines, Rachel Zegler's trajectory seemed like a fairy tale unto itself. She was hand-picked out of thousands of hopefuls to star in West Side Story, a Steven Spielberg production. Her voice, stage presence, and raw talent positioned her as a standout, garnering rave reviews and instant industry buzz. Directors admired her ability to connect emotionally with a scene. Longtime Hollywood insiders whispered that she had the makings of an A-lister, someone who could carry an entire franchise on her shoulders. But in Hollywood, even the brightest beginnings can hide looming troubles. At the time, nobody outside Disney's inner circles suspected that the production was riddled with behind-the-scenes turmoil. Rumors hinted at creative disputes over how radically the story should be transformed. Then came murmurs that the cast and crew were grappling with difficult schedules and ballooning expenses. Yet, none of that overshadowed the promise of seeing Rachel Zegler fulfill what many assumed was her destiny, becoming a Disney legend. Little did anyone know that controversies were brewing, both on set and in Zegler's social media presence. Slowly, cracks appeared. Sporadic comments she made about feminism and old Disney tropes started to raise eyebrows. But fans were still more excited than concerned, chalking it up to a modern spin on an older story. In those months, it seemed unthinkable that the project could fail. After all, every recent live-action remake, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, The Lion King, had raked in enormous box office receipts. Zegler's Snow White appeared poised to follow in their footsteps, delivering the warmth of nostalgia with a contemporary twist. An interview turned uproar. When Zegler began the promotional circuit, expectations were high. She'd shown poise and charm in previous press junkets, so no one anticipated anything different. Then, in one fateful interview, she labeled the original Snow White story as outdated and implied the 1937 prince figure was a borderline stalker. Though some viewers might have shrugged off her comments as modern reinterpretation, a substantial portion of the audience was outraged. Snow White isn't just another Disney film. It's the cornerstone of the entire brand's history, the first full-length animated movie that shaped the childhoods of generations. Suddenly, fan sites and YouTube comment sections lit up with fury. People questioned whether Zegler even respected the story she had been hired to retell. Some found her remarks flippant, as if she were mocking the origins of a character millions admired. Disney aficionados didn't want a cynical teardown of classic romance. They want an uplifting tribute with perhaps a dash of modern perspective. Zegler's statements seemed to do the opposite, fueling criticisms that the adaptation had lost all heart. Moreover, her delivery added fuel to the fire. She spoke about the film's changes in a tone many perceive as arrogant, like the old version was beneath her more enlightened worldview. Within days, countless reaction videos surfaced, dissecting her every expression. YouTube personalities, film critics, and even casual fans weighed in. The more Zegler tried to explain her stance, the more it seemed to irritate those who revered the original. In an era when public perception can shift in a single day, the result was a surge of #BoycottSnowWhite hashtags. All of this was happening against a backdrop of heightened sensitivity. Disney had begun reimagining its classics through contemporary lenses, but the approach sometimes clashed with loyalists who craved the original charm. At first, the conversation revolved around creative freedom. Did an actress have the right to challenge age-old tropes? But as the interviews piled up and Zegler appeared to double down on her criticisms, the debate escalated. Her repeated digs at Snow White came off as a personal crusade rather than a thoughtful commentary, which made fans bristle even more. For Disney, this was a nightmare scenario. Negative press for a flagship property, made worse by the very star they'd banked on to champion it. Suddenly, the marketing plan, featuring Rachel as the bright face of a forward-thinking princess, morphed into a tightrope walk. It would only get worse from there, as online detectives uncovered more polarizing statements from Zegler's past. Disney in panic mode. Inside Disney's Burbank headquarters, rumor has it the anxiety reached critical levels. The budget for Snow White had reportedly soared past $250 million, factoring in elaborate set design, CGI, and a global marketing strategy. Executives had greenlit high-end promotional campaigns and massive tie-in merchandise. This was never meant to be a modest release. It was intended to dominate the box office in the way Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin had done. When the negative press began to dominate conversation, high-level staff allegedly convened to decide how to address the crisis. Some insisted that the studio's marketing teams should emphasize the film's family-friendly aspects, focusing on innocence, magic, and tradition to quell the rising animosity. Others advocated for a firm stance, perhaps distancing the production from Zegler's remarks to salvage the film's brand. Yet those in the actress's corner believed that supporting her was crucial to avoid appearing disloyal. In parallel, legal teams began examining the specifics of Zegler's contract. Rumblings of a moral clause surfaced, suggesting that her statements might constitute a breach if they could be proven to harm the film's commercial potential. While such moves are rarely straightforward, the possibility signaled Disney's desperation to find a scapegoat or at least a way to mitigate losses. Sudden disappearance and legal drama. Just as the controversy seemed to peak, Rachel Zegler dropped from the public eye. She stopped posting on social media, canceled upcoming interviews, and vanished from red carpet events. An unconfirmed story claimed she had boarded a flight to Dubai, igniting speculation that this wasn't just a mental health break, but a deliberate attempt to avoid potential legal entanglements in the United States. The timing was too conspicuous for many observers. It came just days after rumors spread of an emergency meeting at Disney, where certain executives allegedly proposed forcing Zegler to forfeit a portion of her salary to compensate for the movie's dismal commercial trajectory. If the contract's moral clause or some other stipulation offered them even partial grounds, the studio might have leveraged that as a last resort to cut its losses. While there's no concrete evidence to confirm these stories, the conspiracy theories flourished. Some fans likened the situation to old Hollywood sagas where stars disappeared during scandal, only to re-emerge once the storm died down. But if she truly fled to avoid a legal battle, that possibility alone revealed the extraordinary tensions between the star and the studio. No matter where the truth lay, the fact that audiences even entertained such rumors underscored how chaotic and unprecedented this entire ordeal had become. Could an actress so recently lauded as the future face of Disney find herself at odds with the biggest entertainment conglomerate on Earth and possibly face financial penalties for it? Meanwhile, as the mystery deepened, so did online scrutiny. Internet sleuths reported that Zegler had removed numerous posts from her Instagram and X, formerly Twitter. Random flight log leaks popped up, presumably showing her name on international routes, although the legitimacy of these logs was not confirmed. Every day brought a fresh wave of speculation, overshadowing any actual discussion of the movie. Disney's crossroads. Wider implications extend well beyond the fate of one actress. Disney has always banked on nostalgia to capture huge audiences. Live-action remakes of animated classics have been a goldmine for years, but with Snow White faltering, the company risks damaging an entire business model. Does Disney forge ahead with more reboots, or does it pause to reassess what fans really want? Some analysts believe that this meltdown might prompt a broader shift within Disney, fewer risky updates, fewer attempts to drastically alter beloved storylines. Others think the studio will keep experimenting, but perhaps pay more attention to audience feedback before greenlighting extensive changes. Focus groups and advanced screenings might take a greater role in shaping final scripts to avoid fiascos like this one. Executives also have to weigh how heavily political or cultural commentary should factor into these reimaginings. Going forward, the lessons from this fiasco could lead to a more measured approach, one that aims to balance contemporary values with a faithful homage to the original magic. At the heart of it all is a corporate identity crisis for Disney, which once prided itself on universal family entertainment. The silence and the mystery. Rachel Zegler's disappearance from public view continues to stoke speculation that she's shielding herself from more than just internet flack. Could Disney's behind-the-scenes discussions be leaning toward legal action to recover part of the film's losses? Maybe the actress's abrupt departure was a tactical maneuver advised by her legal team. As the debate rages, fans are left with a puzzle. A star once hailed as Disney's next leading light is now the subject of near-daily rumor mills. Some claim she's planning a quiet return stateside once the chaos subsides. Others believe she might be eyeing a pivot to indie films or even stepping away from acting for a while. Without direct communication from her or her team, the speculation grows wilder by the day. The deeper takeaway. Beyond Rachel Zegler and Disney, there's a universal cautionary tale forming here about the power of narratives, both cinematic and personal. In the current era, an actor's off-screen persona can radically shape the audience's response to a film. With social media bridging the gap between celebrities and fans, every word, tweet, or expression is amplified. What used to be small controversies can quickly expand into worldwide debates. This dynamic puts enormous pressure on performers, especially those stepping into roles burdened by decades of nostalgia. One careless comment can alienate a massive segment of an audience that feels personally invested in a character's legacy. The line between an individual's freedom of expression and the brand's commercial interests blurs. There is also a lesson here about the fragility of stardom. Rachel Zegler's journey from beloved breakout actress to embattled star within such a short span reveals how quickly reputations can change in a hyper-connected world. Even if she orchestrates a triumphant return, this chapter will likely remain a cautionary example for others who follow in her footsteps. Conclusion. From a fresh Hollywood hopeful to the controversial centerpiece of Disney's most tumultuous live-action undertaking, Rachel Zegler's rise and fall has become a mesmerizing spectacle. For some, she's a vocal actress who dared to challenge conventions, only to be met with an outsized backlash. For others, she's the architect of her own downfall, having casually dismissed the cherished legacy of a classic film and antagonized fans who wanted nothing more than a respectful homage to a beloved fairy tale. Meanwhile, Disney finds itself in a precarious position, scrambling to recoup losses, juggling public outrage, and rethinking its approach to cherished properties. Was this a case of an outspoken star overshadowing the product, or a studio that underestimated the emotional bond audiences have with its earliest classics? Perhaps both sides share responsibility for a fiasco that has left fans disenchanted, executives exasperated, and an actress in potential jeopardy. Now, as the dust settles, or perhaps continues to swirl, everyone is asking one final question. Is this the end of Rachel Zegler's Disney journey, or merely an extremely rocky chapter on her path to a full-blown comeback? Will audiences forgive and forget if she chooses a different project that better showcases her undeniable talent? Or has she inadvertently closed the door on a career that once seemed primed for superstardom? So, what do you think? Did Zegler simply voice opinions that many keep to themselves, or did she cross a line by deriding a cherished classic? Is Disney overreacting, or is it justified in seeking accountability for a massive financial flop? Whichever side you land on, one lesson rings clear. In an era of fast-paced social media and deeply held nostalgia, the fate of a blockbuster can be determined by the smallest misstep. And sometimes all it takes is a few polarizing words to unleash a storm of epic proportions.